Once again, a very good morning to you, Zondile. Can you give us the latest?
Indeed, Elvis, this was one of those tragic accidents on our roads that claims the lives of the minister and his two protectors. With me is the Minister of Transport, Minister Dipuo Peters, to share her thoughts regarding the situation. Minister, this was one of those, again, tragic accidents on our roads.
This is once again, like you say, that this is a very tragic incident on our road. In particular, in this year, that is actually the year in which we term the halfway mark in terms of the UN decade on road safety. You would know that the Cabinet of South Africa has adopted road safety as one of its key programs. And I'm sure you would have realized that some of the interventions that health has done, some of the engagements that we have already started doing with the Department of Justice to make sure that we truly love the 365 days road safety program, so as to make sure that we alert the people of South Africa to road safety. I'm sure you are aware that Minister Chabane, at the funeral in Guyane on Saturday, one of the areas that he spoke about was road safety. And I want to indicate that even in this particular period, Minister Chabane had agreed during my period of off-sick to take the reins and be almost the caretaker minister in the transport fraternity. And we are here as a transport sector together with RTMC, which is the Road Traffic Management Corporation, one of the agencies that is working with the police to do an investigation about actually what happened. And one of the key things that we always learn from these incidences is what is it that actually makes our roads to be roads of death. If you look at the N1 towards Limpopo, there's always been high-profile type of crashes. One thing that we have actually even said to Sanral is to look at the way the road is constructed. Does it actually lend itself to those particular things? But also, as the Department of Transport, working together with the freight industry, we also need to look at the type of trucks, the time the trucks are moving on our roads. In fact, you would remember that when we released the figures for the festive period road safety or road incidences, we did indicate that the results indicated to us that people actually are involved in crashes between the time of 10 at night and 8 o'clock in the morning. Most of the high-profile cases that we have been handling of late, you have realized it's early hours of the morning. And one of the things that I would want the team of the investigators to look at is also why that particular truck at that particular time, what happened, because in any case, the way the road is constructed, there was no way in which anybody can do a U-turn at that particular point. Does it mean that the driver might have fallen asleep if you look at the time? Does it mean some other substance that is altering your rationality and ability to analyze was involved? Does it mean the driver was probably asleep? Those are some of the things that we also need to pick up. But also the type of truck. Does it also allow for the other driver to see it? And we believe that the investigations that will be done will give us the results. Right now, we know that there is no results that we have. It is still an ongoing investigation. And up until the investigation is concluded, we can't say we know what happened.
But it does seem, Minister, that the attitudes of us as drivers on the roads may need a dramatic change.
We also appealing to the media to be our partners, to make it possible that we teach our people, because one thing people know is that if I have a driver's license, it means I can do anything that I wish. We are busy amending the ARTO Act to make it possible that we can start taking driver's licenses away from people who are transgressing the law. But also what we are doing is to make sure that we look at a comprehensive package. I'm sure you are aware that we always speak about the triple E's, which is the engineering element, but also the education, working together with basic education. And I'm happy to indicate that Minister Motshekga is a good partner with our road safety campaign. You would have remembered January we handed the light over to the campaign light to her, so as to make it possible that we continue with the 365 days teaching our children about road safety. One of the things we want to introduce at the schools is road safety. The other thing is to make sure that our learners can get out of a school with a matric certificate, but also a driver's license. Because if you take them through school, you would also make sure that they know how to drive safely. One of the things that we have realized is that people buy cars, and one of the key things that people go out to do is to test drive the car. They don't test drive with safety in mind. They test drive with features like your music system, your sunroofs, and all those type of things, and also the speed. We're also saying, we're working together with the motor vehicle dealers, that one of the key things that they always do is to advertise the speed of the car as an advantage. And when we actually know that speed cannot be an advantage, and that is some of the interventions that we are looking at, and making sure that in terms of the law that we are amending, we are appealing for support with other sector departments that we can be able to realize that objective. One of the key things that we have engaged the Minister of Justice about is the tendency of magistrates when people have been fined for speeding. Like, for example, there was somebody who got a fine of 5,000 rand, and the magistrate then reduced it to 200 rand. That means that whilst we are enforcing on the other side, there are those who are disincentivizing and giving people incentives for speeding, because that person whose speed has been reduced or his fine has been reduced will never adhere to the rules, because he knows that I will go to the magistrate and plead poverty and plead that incident was because I was rushing. No rush should actually take your life. No incident. In fact, even if you have to rush to a meeting, I believe that it is important that people always prepare themselves on time. If you leave your home on time, you would know how to navigate the traffic. You would also be able to arrive in one piece. That is why we say it is important that we teach our people to love life and to get to understand that a vehicle is the means to get you to a point, not the means to help you to meet your creator. So we're saying there are lessons that we can pick up from here. We're also saying, in the name of Minister Chabane, we need to look at what is it in terms of our rules, in terms of our regulations, that we can be able to say as a legacy out of the caretaker minister of transport, because he leaves this earth whilst he was caretaker minister. So we are actually saying there must be something that we do that would educate the people to say, in the name of Comrade Chabane, whose concern was always about the continent of Africa. I always remember, because the latest indications from him was reminding me that the Minister of Cameroon wants to come to South Africa so that he can engage with you and your agencies to make it possible that they can also address their road situations in Cameroon. We're looking forward to making it possible that in our dealings with the continent, we always remember the son of Africa who always says we cannot succeed and shine at South Africa and leave the continent behind. And we believe that that is one thing that we can be able to do. But I want to convey our condolences as the Department of Transport, to government, to the ANC, and to the Chabane family. We say this is a pain that we would want to learn from. This is a pain that even the protectors, because you would know that he left this earth with his brothers, which are the protectors, who end up being part of the family in most instances. We say to the two families also, we feel with them, and we're actually saying in their name, we also believe that our protectors and the drivers must be taken through what we call defensive driving, so that they can be able to avoid situations like this and preempt and also be able to think about the next driver. Because it is important when you drive, you must also know that that driver I don't trust. I need to be able to make sure that I trust my instinct, I trust my reflexes and my response to any situation.
Thank you very much, Minister. There you have it, Minister of Transport, Minister Dipuo Peters. bringing into sharp focus road safety, this tragic event that claimed the lives of Minister Chabane and the two protectors, Sergeant Sekela and Sergeant Lenswano. You'd remember, perhaps I may just give you a quick update, that President Jacob Zuma has appointed the Minister of Arts and Culture as the acting minister, Minister Nathi Mthethwa, in the position of Public Service and Administration. And so the President has done that, after about 2 or 3 years, there was also the same situation in this very same department where Minister Roy Padayachi also perished. But in his case, he perished in foreign lands. I think he got sick in Addis Ababa. Elvis, it's back to you in the studio.